So it only took Apple probably like 20 years to drop iOS 12.4, and I was actually waiting to make this specific video until that iOS version dropped because I knew potentially iOS 12.4 was going to be the last version of iOS 12, meaning that was going to be the last update for the iPhone 6, 6 Plus, and 5S, as well as the iPod Touch 6th generation and some different iPads, and I think that's super sad, honestly. Like, I'm definitely one of those believers, and I even made a video saying that the iPhone 6 could have definitely supported iOS 13, but I guess that's for a different video that I've already done. But I wanted to do an updated review on the iPhone 6 and see how it holds up in mid-2019. Now, this is going to talk more so of the software and kind of things that have changed from early on this year when I did my SWI, which is a still worth it video, when I did that early on this year. So if you want to watch that one, I'll leave one of the links down in the description. Will take you to that video. That'll be way more in depth. It'll talk more about the body and things like that. I'll kind of brush over those things quickly in this video. But if you want a more in-depth review at how the iPhone 6 holds up in 2019, go watch that video. I'd highly recommend it. But looking at the iPhone 6, I mean, body-wise, nothing really has changed. I mean, now that we're in July, almost in August, this thing is not going to get any hardware updates at all. But, you know, it's definitely a sturdy device, and if you got it from launch day, you probably still think, even when comparing it to like an iPhone 10 or iPhone 10s, whatever, you can definitely tell the 10s is much more expensive and it's a much more premium device. But when you're just holding it and you're not comparing it, like, you don't think it's a cheap device. Plus, you probably threw a case on it, so it's not even that big of a deal. So in terms of the body itself, it does not feel cheap, even though it's susceptible to bending and all that stuff. But my specific unit has not bent, so that's good. On the front, we do have the home button, which has Touch ID 1, which isn't really that bad. I do like the fingerprint sensor over Face ID. I've always said that. You also have the 4.7-inch display, and, you know, overall, like I said, the very familiar design. The screen isn't horrible. I really haven't seen anything too bad about even just this device overall, even from the first day that I've owned it. I've always kind of liked it, even though I kind of bashed it here and there. I still don't think, you know, it's really worth the money, if I'm being honest, but I think for the package, it's definitely not bad on the outside. Now, turning on to the inside of the device, you have the Apple A8 chip, a dual-core CPU, and 1 gig of RAM, and the specs inside were really what kind of, you know, boxed this phone into a corner. Like, there really wasn't too much going up for this specific phone, mostly because of the chipsets within. I mean, going from the iPhone 5S to the iPhone 6, it really wasn't that much of an update on the inside. It was more so of like the outside update, which is totally understandable because Apple had to go and push like that bigger phone with the 6 Plus as well, even though internally there wasn't really that much difference, especially with the speed, performance, and all that stuff. So in terms of the speed and everything, I'll definitely tell you it's not the best, whatever, but you guys already knew that. But what I want to hit on is actually with the software, which was iOS 12.4, and I've already made a whole review on it. If you want to watch that, I guess I'll leave that link down in the description too. I'll just leave links down all there for days, but that software, more so of iOS 12, not even with 12.4 specifically, that in my opinion is a very, very good stopping point for the iPhone 6. You know, I think if it did go on with iOS 13, I could possibly, you know, keep this between me and you, but I could see Apple pulling another iOS 11 with iOS 13 by the way that's going. Now, it's way too early on in the beta program to kind of call that out, but from what I'm seeing and from every iPhone that I've tested it on, I'm kind of seeing that right now, but I'll keep that in a different video as well. But iOS 12 is super stable. There wasn't really too much being changed with it, but there definitely was more stability added to it, and that's one thing that I'm actually really happy that Apple kind of focused in on. So in terms of just the overall lifespan of the iPhone 6, I'm actually glad that it did end on iOS 12, even though it could have went further. I think it could have went, I mean, the iPad Air 2 was supported, and they practically have the same chipset, the A8X on the iPad Air 2 and the A8 on the iPhone 6, but it's whatever. But I've actually been kind of messing with the iPhone 6 and seeing if I could find any like glitchiness or bugs or anything. And yes, there's some stutter frames for sure. Like, it's definitely not a fast device, even when you're scrolling through the front screen sometimes. But I couldn't find like a huge bug that deterred me from using it. I don't even remember the last bug I had with iOS 12. That was probably within like iOS 12.1, probably the last one I had, which is definitely a good sign. And that's one thing that I'm actually really happy with about the iPhone 6. Like I said before, I'm glad it stopped on iOS 12. You're going to have a very stable device. And in terms of the multi-core scores, you know, they didn't really change too much either, which, you know, multi-core scores don't mean everything, but they could mean something. So I'll definitely tell you in terms of the speed and I guess the software too, I think you'll be set, you know, like even though it's not getting supported anymore and all that stuff, I think you'll be happy with 12.4, you know, whether you're updating today or you're updating like 2 months from now or a year from now, or you're just getting an iPhone 6. I think iOS 12.4, the latest version, is a very good ending spot for the iPhone 6. Now I'm going to quickly hit on the camera in case you didn't watch my last review or my last why about it, but on the back we have an 8 megapixel sensor and on the front we have a 1.2 megapixel sensor. You can shoot 1080p videos on the back sensor at 30 frames and there really isn't too much going for it either. but it is a camera, and if you're outside, you can get some decent shots with it. So I'll definitely say like it's good for what it is. If you're in a pinch, you can use it, but it's definitely not winning any awards anytime soon. So that pretty much covers up everything I wanted to hit on about the iPhone 6, and that kind of wraps up the mid 2019 review of this device. Now I'll definitely do a late 2019 review too. I might compare it to like a 6S on iOS 13 to see what the differences are in speed, but I guess we'll just see what happens there. But this is basically what I'll say, man. Like the iPhone 6 is very much like it was earlier this year. There's really not too much going on with it, but like I said, I'm actually happy it's not getting iOS 13, even though it could have handled it. I'm going to say that for the 5th time in this video. But I think iOS 12 is a very good stopping point. And even if you're currently using an iPhone 6, I would just tell you to keep it. There's no reason to go and update just because it's unsupported with software. Crazy thing is that if, let's say 2 years down the line, if a crazy huge bug comes out and it affects the iPhone 6, Apple could potentially still push an update for the iPhone 6 like we've seen with the 4S and the 5 with iOS 9.3.6 and iOS 10.3.4, which is insane. So security updates could potentially still come, but the other thing is that this phone is still supported with all the apps on the App Store. So if you want to go download like an update for Real Racing 3 or whatever, like you'll still get those same app experiences as you would get on an iPhone XS or something. Obviously it's not going to be as fast, but you're still going to be able to get all the same apps for at least like another like 2-3 years. So in terms of that, you'll be set, and I wouldn't even recommend you to update until the newest iPhone comes out, which come out in September. So wait until then. Used iPhone prices will definitely go down by then, but if you want to go pick one up now, I will leave links to the lowest priced iPhone 6S and the lowest priced iPhone 7 that I can find on Amazon, or I'll link them straight down in the description below. If you want to get them from there, you'll be supporting the channel at the same time, which would be so freaking amazing. I would love that. But that is pretty much it, man. If you have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.